The good news for now is that Facebook's audience is still so massive that we don't expect this to be too much more of a problem in 2022 than it is right now. But if more users start leaving or don't sign up for Facebook or Instagram, advertisers will eventually follow suit.
Hey gang, it's 2022, more specifically Monday, January 3rd. Jasmine, Andrew and listeners, welcome to 2022, first of all, and a new and improved Behind the Numbers Daily, a new marketer podcast made possible by Smartly.io. I'm Marcus, and today I'm joined by two folks. Let's meet them. We start with introducing one of our senior analysts covering social media. It's Jasmine Emberg.
Hey Marcus, hey everyone.
Hey there. Happy New Year. We're also joined by one of our principal analysts covering retail. It's Andrew Lipsman.
Hey there. Happy New Year, everyone. And I can still say that because we're still in the first week of the year.
Still counts. Happy brand new year. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new podcast almost, but it's not really, but it's refreshed. We've got a brand new podcast logo at least. This is way more exciting than it should be, so bear with me as I talk about this. But this makes it clearer. Well, first of all, it's a nicer logo than one before. So that's first of all. Second of all, it should make it easier to search through all of the five different show offerings that we have for you. From the news-centric daily, this very show you're listening to the fun and games weekly listen, that's our Friday show, to the jet-setting around the world show, our once-a-month international show, hosted by Bill Fisher, to our investigative brand anatomy show hosted by Jeremy Goldman, to our latest show, Reimagining Retail, hosted by Susie David Canyon and the chap whose voice you just heard, Andrew Lipsman. So make sure you check out all those different shows that we have available for you. Probably easier to sort through now. We have a new logo. Let's get into it. Today's fact, of course we've got one. At least one of the colors of the Olympic flag appears on all of the national flags. French aristocrat Baron de Coubertin designed the Olympic flag in the early 1900s, and he was very intentional with his creation. At least one of the colors on the Olympic flag appears on the flags of every nation that competed in the games at the time, if you count the white background of the flag itself. A white background with 5 interlaced rings in the center, blue, yellow, black, green, and red, is symbolic, Coubertin said. In 1931, it represents the 5 inhabited continents of the world, united by Olympism, while the 6 colors are those that appear on all the national flags of the world at the present time. Anyway, today's real topic is the top trends in 2022. So folks, we recently put out our top 10 trends in 2022 report, and we wanted to give you a few of those predictions for this year, a little oxygen on the show, so you guys could get a flavor of what our analysts are paying most attention to over the next 12 months. So here are 4 of them for you, 4 of the 10. We start with social media. Facebook dominates ads despite continuing scrutiny is one of those trends for 2022. Jasmine, in the report, it notes that, quote, Facebook will face its toughest challenges ever, but the pull of the second largest digital ad platform will be too much for most advertisers to resist, close quote. Those toughest challenges, Jasmine, what are those challenges for Facebook?
So I'm actually really excited to discuss this with you, Andrew, because I know that you are quite a bit more bearish on Facebook's ads business than I am. But
I thought you forgot my name then. Unbelievable. I thought we've not started the year well. She's forgot who I am and she said Andrew, but she was actually talking to Andrew. And now it makes more sense at the end of the sentence. Continue, please. Sorry, Jasmine.
So we foresee 3 big challenges for Facebook in 2022. And the first is the threat from Apple's iOS privacy changes, which we already know has made it more difficult for Facebook to provide accurate ad performance readings and has led to lower growth in iOS spending. The second challenge is brand safety. There are so many questions out there about Facebook's business practices that are keeping advertisers, lawmakers, and hopefully also Facebook's leadership up at night. Some of that has already transferred to Instagram, which until recently has been pretty immune to the reputational problems that Facebook has faced. Even so, neither of these 2 challenges will have a material impact on Facebook's ads business in 2022. We do expect some negative effects from the iOS changes, but those will be temporary and buffered by spending on Android. As for brand safety, I think at this point it's pretty safe to say that most advertisers care more about their business results than public image, and we expect that Facebook will remain a core part of social media plans this year. And the third challenge, though, is the one that will probably have the most impact on Facebook's business in the long run, and that's the slowing user growth. We know that teens are avoiding Facebook, but now there's also evidence that they're not signing up for Instagram either. The good news for now is that Facebook's audience is still so massive that we don't expect this to be too much more of a problem in 2022 than it is right now. But if more users start leaving or don't sign up for Facebook or Instagram, advertisers will eventually follow suit.
Let me just say, I'm in violent agreement with everything that Jasmine is saying. I'll add to it and say, I think the area where I become a little bit more bearish, I mean, listen, it's still going to grow strongly. I think that it's just, we know that there are headwinds in monetization because of iOS changes. For me, it's that combined with the fact that it's not just slowing user growth, it's really time spent. That's the decline that I think is going to ultimately lead to fewer impressions for Facebook specifically. This is obviously going to be less of a case on Instagram, but for Facebook's Big Blue app, I think the time spent declines as some of those network effects start to unwind is where I feel like those combined factors have to come to a head in some form or fashion this year. So that's where my negativity comes from.
Well, that was less controversial than I thought it would be.
Yeah, the biggest challenge for me, it seems to be, young people, which we've known for a while, but continues to I don't say accelerate necessarily, but continues to trend in that direction. Facebook will keep losing young people slowly but surely. This year, the share of American internet users aged 18 to 24 will go from 63% to 62%, 12 to 17-year-olds from 38% to 35%. Instagram, luckily, though, is acting as a bit of a savior, accounting for well over half of Facebook's US ad revenues next year, according to us. So the company as a whole is not in terrible shape, and Facebook will continue to make a lot of money. We move to our next trend. Experience and expedience dominate physical retail. In the report, we write that the pendulum swings back to physical retail with the resurgence of brick and mortar in 2021. Andrew, what kind of brick and mortar resurgence did we see in 2021, and how will the pendulum swing back even further this year?
Yeah, I mean, physical retail has come roaring back as people felt more comfortable in stores. Obviously, 2020 was an aberration and foot traffic fell off a cliff. So some of that was to be expected. But I think this is really kind of the rejuvenation of physical retail that we've been expecting to see for some time. And I would say, the old model of retail was just more or less about putting inventory in front of consumers. And that use case over time has declined as inventory and the endless aisle exists in digital. So the reason for being for physical retail has had to evolve. And it basically veers in two directions. One is experience. You have to go there because you want to spend some time there. People still like shopping. They like the ambiance or the atmospherics of different retail experiences. So they're there for more than just buying things. Also, sometimes it's a great interactive experience, a way to test out products, try them on, try out new stereo equipment, whatever the case may be. People want to interact with the goods in some way that they can't through online shopping. So stores that are meeting those dimensions of experience will still do well. The other aspect is expedience. And this is that people have to do certain shopping, think of grocery, and really they just want it to be as painless as possible. And they want to get in and out. And so anything you can do to remove friction is what's going to attract consumers. That's getting through checkout as quickly as possible. And really the innovation that we see starting to get mass adoption as it rolls out across a lot more locations this year is cashierless checkout. That's the just walk out type of technology that Amazon has, but it's more than that. There's a lot more retailers also using scan and go where you can basically check out from your phone. So I think that's what's going to keep people in retail environments. And I would also just add to it, mobile is a really important device because it can both enhance experience and kind of plug into that frictionless experience. So mobile is going to be a key to a lot of the new era of physical retail.
We expect retailtainment to take center stage this year as in-store experiences capture the attention of shoppers, our report notes. How so, Andrew, and what kinds of examples can we expect to see?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of examples that I would say are like edge cases, maybe the Harry Potter experience in New York. Nike has some really amazing innovation labs and different types of store experiences. So the things that really wow consumers can become great flagship products. But I think really what that does is it starts to set a new level for the rest of retail, that if you're not adding something that has a little bit of entertainment, wow factor, if you're going for that experience element, that you're just not going to continue to attract people. And maybe there isn't a great reason for you existing if you can't provide some level of that.
And quick follow-up on this. Are retailers just expecting consumers to kind of happen upon their in-store experiences by chance? Or are they sending out messaging saying, hey, we've got this new experience, come on down?
All of the above, right? They often want prime real estate where you have a lot of foot traffic. It's marketing through digital media channels and basically also getting some free buzz. I mean, I think that's a big part of it is there's no shortage of PR and news coverage on innovative retail experiences.
Mm-hmm. Let's move to another social trend. Viral commerce takes over social commerce. First of all, Jasmine, what is viral commerce?
So I think the simplest way for me to explain this is in the words of my brilliant younger sister who told me the other day that she needs to stop watching TikTok videos because it makes her want to buy everything that she sees.
It's the perfect summary.
Right?
The most perfect
I thought
summary
so
of it.
too.
Yeah. Viral commerce, a subset of social commerce, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And what trends will fuel social commerce this year?
Well, viral commerce is one of them. We're expecting it to be the quote unquote it trend in social commerce this year. It's not going to be the primary way that people shop on social platforms, but it's going to be a model that many of the platforms will try to emulate from TikTok. It's really leading the way in this, of course, because viral commerce works probably the best on TikTok right now because of its algorithm and the way that its content is shared and organized and discovered through hashtags, specifically the hashtag TikTok made me buy it phenomenon. So I think what we'll see is there will be a lot of development in search and discovery tools on the social platforms, particularly on Instagram. We'll also see a lot more emphasis on shoppable content, on brand influencer partnerships, because viral commerce really depends on all of these things to be successful.
Mm-hmm. Let's move to our final trend here. Retail media's killer data drives it mainstream for brand advertisers. Andrew, what are the two main ways retail media will make a splash in 2022?
Yeah, well, so I think the key is in the last couple of years, we've seen this huge growth in retail media, specifically driven by Amazon, which is almost 80% of the market. But, oftentimes it's the small and medium-sized businesses selling through Amazon that are buying a lot of those ads, and large brands who have traditionally advertised on TV, social media, all the really big channels have been a little bit slower to move. Now that's changed in a big way for consumer brands amid the pandemic as they had to focus a lot more on e-commerce advertising. What's going to happen this year? I think that the whole market for retail media gets super interesting because ads are going to start to move up the funnel into more display, video, connected TV. We've talked quite a bit about these trends. And I think we're also going to start to see how retail media is moving the needle, not just on online sales, but offline sales using offline attribution. So one of the examples there would be another retail media network outside of Amazon, which is Walmart. They have a huge footprint of store data that they're starting to activate for advertisers. And you can imagine a number of other multi-channel retailers are also starting to leverage data along these lines. So I think those are the key innovations is offline attribution and upper funnel advertising. And specifically when it hits, the sweet spot of CTV, I think we're going to see big brands salivate at the opportunity. And once they see that they can deliver TV-like ads and drive measurable sales, that those budgets are going to start to shift in a major way.
And really quickly, is there one retail media network outside of Amazon, and not necessarily the second biggest like a Walmart, an interesting one that you're paying closest attention to moving into 2022 outside of the predictable one, which would be Amazon?
There's so many interesting ones. I think the ones I've focused most on are for consumer brands. So Instacart is also interesting because it's got its tentacles into 300 some grocery retailers, national and regional chains. But it's a similar value proposition. But you go across different categories, Macy's and CVS and Etsy, different marketplaces. I mean, there's just so many examples, and a lot of them are actually starting to hit the mark pretty well and driving nice ad businesses. So there's a lot of excitement, and I think a lot of them will succeed.
That's it for the lead. Time now for the halftime report. Jasmine, we'll start with you. Your two takeaways from the first half, please.
So the first is that Facebook, or I guess I should say Meta, is becoming more and more dependent on Instagram for growth in terms of revenue and users. And Instagram is really going to do whatever it can to woo teens to its platform. But advertisers really are going to be more likely to find them on TikTok, Snapchat, and other digital media going forward. Mm-hmm. The second one is that social commerce will continue to grow next year, but the way that people shop on social platforms is also evolving. Viral commerce is definitely the hot new trend. It won't be the number one way that people shop, but it is going to cause all of the social platforms to rethink and redevelop their discovery tabs and algorithms.
Terrific. Andrew, your 2 takeaways?
I think the first one is I'm just really excited about where we watch physical retail go. And I think a lot about how store digitization is going to start to take over retail experiences. So I think there's just a lot of innovation that's going to happen over the next few years. And this year is going to be the first where it starts to hit many of us in the face for the first time. On the second one, on retail media, I would say, we have seen over 50% growth the last 2 years in this market, and growth rates start to come down, but it's not like it's peaked. I actually think that 2022 is the year where it starts to get really interesting because so many other players outside of Amazon are going to make a really compelling play for advertising dollars as they come online.
The full report is called Top 10 Trends in 2022, a guide to the biggest developments in our coverage areas. Put together by a bunch of our analysts. You can find it at emarketer.com or insiderintelligence.com. Pro subscribers, check that out. That's all we've got time for the lead story. It's time now for In Other News, but first a quick word from our sponsor, Smartly.io. Hi to all the social media marketers out there, listen up. Social platforms have become more important than ever for brands. You know this. So if you're looking to scale your social advertising in 2022, look no further. Smartly.io is number one in social media advertising. They help brands automate every step of the process by combining creative production and ad buying to unlock greater performance. All right, folks, we have a new and improved In Other News segment for you. From here on out, pretty much, we are going to be explaining what we're talking about with regards to the specific news story, and then I'll be asking the analysts to fill in the blank. And they'll be filling in the blank of a question, and then they'll be explaining why they filled in the blank with that particular word, phrase, or sentence. Let's begin. Today in other news, what is the main social media challenge facing brands in 2022? And is Amazon's marketplace model coming to a store near you? Story 1. A recent article by Caroline Forsey of HubSpot Research lists 5 social media challenges brands are facing in 2022. What are they? Number 1, determining on which platforms they should market their brand. Number 2, creating engaging content. Number 3, finding new ideas for content. Number 4, measuring ROI. Number 5, creating content that generates leads. Jasmine, of these 5, the biggest social media challenge brands are facing in 2022 is blank.
I'm going to go with number 1, determining which platforms are right for your brand.
And why?
Well, simply because overcoming most of the other challenges in the top 5 is really dependent on getting number 1 right. It doesn't matter if you have a really engaging new piece of content if your distribution mechanism is wrong.
Story 2. Amazon's marketplace model coming to a store near you, writes Jinju Lee of the Wall Street Journal. Everyone and their brother is getting one of those online marketplaces that lets third-party sellers list, sell, and ship items on an established retailer's site. Miss Lee notes that grocery chain Kroger has one, as do Apparel Sellers Express, Land's End, J.Crew, and Urban Outfitters. Hudson's Bay, a Canadian department store, launched its online marketplace last year, and Macy's has also said it will launch its marketplace in the second half of this year, 2022. Andrew, the marketplace model coming to a store near you is blank.
Not going to happen for most of them. Well, they'll try.
Oh.
They'll certainly try. But I think that, I understand exactly why these retailers want to build marketplaces. It actually goes right back to retail media. It's the ones that have the most traffic. That is how you build a strong retail media business. That's how you attract advertisers to sell search ads against that. And then search really gives you permission to start moving up the funnel and building a robust business. So I get why they all want to do it. I think it's a stretch for a lot of them, especially the ones that are focused on specific categories. If your name isn't already Amazon, eBay, Walmart, Instacart, there's room for 8 or 10 really good flourishing marketplace models across the industry. It just starts to get so much harder once you get past that. So I think for, multi-channel merchants, especially in specific categories, it's going to be a tough road.
And that is all we have time for. Thank you so much to my guests. Thank you to Jasmine.
Thank you, and Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year to you too. On behalf of everyone on the planet Earth, Andrew, Happy New Year to you, and thank you for hanging out.
And to you, Marcus, Jasmine, this was fun.
Yes, indeed. As per usual, thank you to Victoria. She edits the show. She edits them all. And thanks to everyone listening. See you tomorrow for the Behind the Numbers Daily and eMarketer podcast made possible by Smartly.io. Andrew, did you get a haircut?
I did, yes. Thank you for noticing. I know the glasses probably threw off your ability to notice.
Both.
That.
I noticed both. Come on, what are we doing? Just for the show? Was that just for the first show of the year?
It's 2022, so I have to cocoon a little bit and come out as a beautiful butterfly. So I'm trying out a new look.
It's working, my friend. Oh, amazing.